All right, welcome back, everyone. Jumping in for a quick look at the charts. What I'm doing as a manager, breeder, trader, all those hats in one, and just having a look at what the market's doing at the moment. So everyone knows Bitcoin broke that nice little wedge, consolidated sideways for a little bit here, and we made that next leg up. All-time highs, starting to get a bit oversold here. Also getting a bit of this divergence, bearish here. Starting to set lower high on the RSI with a higher high here. So getting that bit of bearish divergence, right on all-time highs. Hasn't really crushed through. I still think it can probably have a run up. Hasn't stopped it before in the past. And if we're looking at the dominance chart, it's kind of what I'm looking at here for this to have that bit of a run up. Bitty do its thing. As I've said in other videos, when Bitcoin does go on its run, all the alts get smashed, even in the USD prices. Like if Bitcoin goes on a run, the dominance, goes back to Bitcoin. The same way as we see when ETH goes on a run, all the dominance, against ETH with the SLP pairing, in the ETH, it seems to get hammered, and we'll look at that again like we normally do. But what I'm looking for with the dominance is to go up, retest that zone up here around that 40%. Come back down, reject, and then make that lower high. And I'm looking at this point here where it does crack below that that low point here and make that new market structure. And this is when I'm looking for AXS and everything else to start having a bit of a run. But for that, I think Bitcoin probably got a bit left in it. Get that dominance up, reject, and then Bitcoin can cool off for a little bit. Alts can have their run, and the next alt run I think is going to be pretty epic. So looking at SLP, you can see here I was taking profits. We'll look at the USD price, but you can see these lines that we've been drawing for how long. This is why TA is super important, guys. Like anyone not taking profits here at this level of resistance and structure to the left, crazy. I took it a little bit earlier on the USD chart, but you can see here, like we've already fallen back nearly 50%. That's why just even knowing the absolute basics of support and resistance, and I had this box drawn, I've had that in those last few videos where I'm not happy until we start closing above this level here, and look exactly where we came to. So broken that downtrend, consolidated sideways, got that push when the DEX came out, but we only got to as far as where traders were waiting to sell. So SLP, still watching now, we're pretty much going to double bottom here and just sort of seeing what happens. But as we saw before with the dominance chart, when Bitcoin goes on a run, the same thing as this against ETH. So ETH's been doing pretty good against BTC, except for now. Oh, this is pretty good. This is what I was looking for. We drew this last video, coming down, making that, and then coming back, and I was looking to buy that. Lucky I didn't have any alerts set, but we pretty much went nearly to the exact point of where I was looking at. We had that structure to the left, but we've now fallen back below there. So ETH still super bullish long term, something that I'm trying to accumulate, and especially trying to accumulate through breeding. So the SLP USD, I took profit at 9.5 cents, 9.35. We had this level of, this structure over to the left, to the left, to the left. I've been holding a bunch since from scholars, since we broke this downtrend, and I was just looking to take profits, towards the top of this zone here. So it did fly past there quite a bit. It still did another 40% on top. But, the thing is that you're never going to sell the tops. Just make sure that you're still not holding onto it when it comes back down to this level here. SLP it's just so volatile. The market can get moved so quickly, and there's just not a lot of volume in it. So some pretty decent buys where people were buying here for those liquidity pools, quickly push that market up, and a lot of people were swapping it over in the DEX and then having that arbitrage across over to Binance. I'm sure a lot of traders would have taken advantage of that. So SLP, still the same thing. In this box until we start closing above, which we pretty much didn't. We kind of closed that candle here, and then we came up and then just created that lower high, and then it was all over once we couldn't get back. So I was taking profit here. Probably should have held some to take profit here, but that's when my alerts went off. That was a sold. I'm happy enough with that. We're still not creating that new market structure. Back to the bottom of the box here for SLP. AXS looks good. So this is the last time we looked at the top of this box, broke the box, came back down, and then we are now moving up. We've just dipped below that 50 moving average, but we're still holding this level of support where we've had structure previous to the left, and I'm still looking for that next move to the upside. So when we're talking about the liquidity pools, we had a bit of a chat about these the other day in the last one. We've got the AXS WETH and the SLP wrapped ETH as well. So I had a bit of a look at that compared to what you can still get by staking, and you're still getting 123% just by purely staking the AXS, and you don't have to worry about losing anything by having the things in the liquidity pool and copying that impermanent loss. So for me, probably going to be looking at the SLP wrapped ETH pairing to try and get some Ronin. We don't know what the APR is, and we don't know what Ronin's worth yet. So we're still waiting to find out that. I think it was about 10 days since the launch before we find out a bit of price discovery for Ronin, what it's going to be, what the APR is going to be on these farms for your LP tokens. So waiting, but at the moment, I still think it's probably going to be better off staking the AXS. And then if you've got any leftover SLP and wrapped ETH from selling breeds and things like that, I'll probably try and farm some RON with that rather than the AXS. Leave my AXS in the staking, get those to, essentially make myself more AXS and get some free breeds. So AXS still bullish, still good, nice market structure. I'm looking for that next leg up, and $215 is my target from here, and I will be selling some if we do get to that point personally. So that's pretty much it from the charts of how that looks. We're about 7 minutes in, so we're going to jump into the market analyzer. We're going to have a bit of a look. I've been using this a lot, and you can see that we've had a bit of a rally in some of these better Axies here. Only in the last week or so, it's been in a consistent downtrend, but you got to remember that the price of ETH between September 29th and now has also gone up significantly. So if we look at September 29th here, well, this is September 29th. So in that time, ETH has done 50%. All right, so while you see the price of these Axies in ETH has gone down, from 0.19, currently sitting at 0.12, it has gone down quite a bit. But we've also seen ETH, the US dollar value, increase significantly, like 57% from here, from when we broke this nice downtrend channel. So the US dollar price seems to be holding more, and now we're starting to see a bit of a change and a change in trend here, and people starting to buy up, and you can see that volume starting to spike up as well towards the end of the month. And I'm looking at just aquatic. I'm looking at the kois and the Nemos as well. I did run through and plug in just the regular carrot, Sirius, pumpkin. I don't know what else. Whatever we use, cactus, I think, on the front, and they're around about 0.1 as well. So they're starting to trend up now, even though ETH is also trending up. So your US dollar price for what you're getting for your sales is going up quite a bit. So we did this one, and this is probably something I'm going to add in just to sort of see how profitable breeding is. And what I'm doing personally with my breeding to try and expand my Axie teams. I've got a couple of different scholarships. The one personal one, just sort of leaving as it is, slowly expanding, mucking around with some different teams. But the other one that I'm trying to expand as much as I can with some other people. And I using this method at the moment where we're breeding 4 times, selling the worst 2, and then using the money that we get, or the ETH that we get, from selling those 2 of each of the Nemos, kois, and tanks, and then using that money to fund the next breed. And at the moment, it's still super profitable, especially when we're seeing the prices. for Nemos, Kois, and tanks really start to move up in that ETH. So I'm looking at things that are 98% plus. Like I'm only breeding 99s and 100s, so I'm only using printers sort of as we go through. So a full breed for me, each Axie is going to cost you about 0.052 ETH or $253. So each team is going to cost about 0.156 ETH. So full breed is 0.62 ETH for 12. So we're breeding 4 Kois, 4 Nemos, 4 tanks, and selling the worst 2 and hoping that the ones that we're selling are still sort of 98% and above, and we're getting these as the average prices, and I got those from the market analyzer. So from the floor, from the printers, this is how much we're getting back. And I've been mucking around with yams a bit too, because seem to be getting about 0.14 to 0.17 for some really good. I've got some really good printer sort of. I think the yam leaf bugs. So they're selling quite well, and that's sort of just topping me up with a bit of extra ETH, which I'm now turning into AXS to stake on Katana. So at the moment, selling 2 each at these prices, and if we're only looking at carrot and we're not looking at the yams, we're getting back 0.634 ETH. And it's only costing us 0.62. So we're actually making a little bit of ETH from breeding, and we're getting 2 free scholars. So every 5 days, we're breeding 4 times. The ones that we breed 4 times, just moving them across to new scholars. And what we sell these 6 Axies for, so 2 Nemos, 2 Kois, 2 tanks, that's what we're getting, that 0.63, which just funds a complete new breeding cycle. So keeping one as a swinger and getting the ABC method, or a slight variation, I guess, of it, and basically just printing some free ETH, and also printing just 2 new scholars every 5 days. So that's what I've been doing for a little while. And if we're looking at the return on investment from those scholars, if you're getting, your scholars should be averaging, if you're having a double aqua with a decent tank, they should be able to average about 150 SLP after the first month or so. So as my manager hat, from here, we're probably getting 75 a day, let's say 31 days in the month for this one. 2,235 SLP per scholar per month. So we're getting about 0.035 ETH. So at the moment, it's about 3.26 months. It did blow out to about 4 for a little while there when SLP was dropping. But as SLP rises against the ETH pair, which at some point it kind of has to, because if we go back, really zone out, we are at the bottom of a cycle. Good thing is that we're getting a lot more volume here as well, so just waiting for that new market structure. But at the moment, it's about 3 months for that 100% return on investment from each team. But the best thing is at the moment is that the teams that we're getting this 100% ROI for over that, we're basically getting 0.035 or $230 a month twice from these 2 free scholars that we're getting, because breeding is still so profitable at the moment, and making sure you're using that market analyzer to price your Axies properly and breeding well, 98s and 99s, 100s. I don't think I've really bred many 98s anymore, and I'll jump on the marketplace and grab some 99s and 100s to make sure my breeds are still going through well. So that's what I'm doing for expansion. What I'm doing for the charts, where I'm looking to take profit in AXS and then looking to enter lower. So I'm still looking for that $215 mark. SLP, just waiting. If we get spikes like this, I've got sell orders set at 9.3, 10 cents. I'm selling all the way through here. If we get to the top of that box, and I only want to start really holding when we start creating that new market structure, like I've drawn in here. So I hope that was helpful. 14 minutes. Much better than my half an hour. I will be on for that Q&A on a Saturday morning. We're going to do it a little bit earlier. But yeah, see you guys then. So these are the guys that taught me how to trade back in 2017. Jace, the guy on the screen now. He was the main lead trainer back then, still is, but they've added some more trainers now as well. So we got a bunch, and got pretty much nearly every night of the week covered for a market scan from a different trainer. And they all have very different styles, but are all very effective. So I base my trading sort of style from Jace mostly, but I've taken bits and pieces from all the other trainers that have come in too, because they've really added a whole lot of value. So if you're wanting to learn how to trade, how to do technical analysis, very much very much recommend it if you're into the play to earn space or in crypto at all. Even if you're not wanting to day trade, every day and try and make those gains every month. It's very important to know how to read charts. It stops you from making big emotional decisions like selling bottoms and buying tops and things like that. So definitely save your money in the long run. If you're in the crypto space, this is definitely a skill that you need to have. So we've got 50 hours plus of all the lessons that take you through from knowing absolutely zero about crypto all the way through to some pretty advanced strategies with scalping and moving averages and all sorts of stuff. So if you want to learn, head over. The link is in the comments. Just in the description. You can see here we got all sorts of stuff going on with like live mentorships, training courses. We've got the course online. Also do getaways and things like that. At the moment, they're hiring out Movie World in about a month or two's time, as long as we don't have any more lockdowns here. And running like a 3-day sort of seminar and things like that. So hopefully you can get into them at some point, and got some really, really good trainers and good coaches. So that's the team. All right, guys, if you are interested, and you definitely should be, please jump in through and have a look at that link. It'll also add you to my trading Discord as well. So